Well, we're happy to announce today that we have a clip of a guy who I think he's a little bit. I think he came up a little bit after you, Jim Brewer, who has got.
He has. Some people are late bloomers, late brewers, late in life. Some people get more closed. Some people open up like a flower.
And what's he doing?
First of all, the guy was so intellectually funny early on. I remember all of his wordplay bits. Jim Brewer got on Saturday Night Live with this. I'm a goat boy.
Yeah.
I'm a goat boy. And yet they wouldn't put me on the show. Said I was too Jewish.
Well, a lot of us got that. Here is an interview.
I can't wait to hear this.
All right. What's this interview? Who's doing the interview, Bradley?
They're canceling. They canceled me. Absolutely canceled me.
He's speaking.
It's Clay Clark. He's like a business coach. He's the guy who's the proprietor of the ReAwaken America Tour that Brewer is on now.
Okay, so here's an interview, and then we're going to see. This is the ReAwaken. I mean, at one point, Brewer, I feel like he went on Rogan and realized, like, wait a second. Mm. I mean, I imagine that Brewer is probably anti-vax just because
he doesn't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, and then he's like, oh, wait a second. This is going to be the first time in a couple of decades that I'm going to be able to sort of like get back to where I was, at least marginally, when
comedically,
I was
you mean?
No, like well, maybe.
I thought you were talking about his career. What are you talking about? He's starting to.
I'm talking about like he realized, like he's like, wait a second, this is a cash cow for me, and so then he made a big deal of like, I'm not going to allow a vaccine mandate in my shows, and then the next thing you know, he's going on. What is the tour called?
The ReAwaken America Tour.
Oh, my God.
And here is the interview that precedes the tour.
Get her done tour.
Can you talk to me about comedy and why comedy is, or maybe you don't agree, but why comedy is truly one of the last places where completely free speech is allowed?
The jester was the greatest, most important person since the beginning of time. Because the jester comes, he kind of brings his message, people laugh, and then he leaves. And hopefully some people go, hey, what did that guy just say? Comedy is the only thing that heals, that B, that can
pause it for 1 second. Pause it 1 second. I just think there's a couple of things I want to check in with you about, Andy, at this point. First off, the idea that he jumped in so quickly, the gesture, like he's had this, the gesture's been here since the beginning of time. I mean, not really. Probably not. Maybe not. Maybe. What? Like the 1400s, Matt? Would you say maybe the gestures? But probably not before then.
Yeah.
He also said the jester is the most important person since the beginning of time. Not that they've just been around, but
Jesus Christ was a jester.
We do. I mean, he wore that pointy, colorful hat with the bells on each end.
He was riffing. He was definitely riffing, and I think we could all tell that and this looks astounding to me. Jim Brewer's had some work done, but not on his act.
Whoa. Let's go back, because
was that too much?
He also said that laughter or humor or gesture is the only thing that heals. It feels like there's one other thing that heals, and that would be like medicine.
Yes, that's right.
Medicine might also heal.
Yeah, laughter is the best medicine, but not for certain diseases.
But not the only medicine, and It also doesn't inoculate you from getting a virus. But
don't say inoculate. Don't say inoculate to an anti-vax.
Let's go back a little bit and pick it up from there.
Jester is the greatest, most important person since the beginning of time. Because the jester comes, he kind of brings his message, people laugh, and then he leaves. And hopefully some people go, hey, what did that guy just say? Comedy is the only thing that heals,
That's not true.
That B, that can also make you think. And
It's the only
if
thing.
you shut down that, and it's the last thing with free speech, which is why if you
All right.
it's like any form of art. You can't
Pause
just
it for 1
say,
second. Pause it for 1 second. The jester, just to be clear, the jester is not a magician. Is he? Like, I know you're like, how come the jester's coming in and going, "Whoa."
Juggling, Sam.
They
He's
could,
juggling.
yeah. I mean, often there was like little people, and they like imbued them with sort of magical characteristics, and they do some juggling too. But I just want to say, like, this jesters, and they're the only people allowed free speech. Like, imagine jesters coming in and just all their jokes were about how unfairly judged and oppressed jesters are as a class.
The
Jesters
jester
aren't
was
allowed to say what they actually want to
They
anymore.
literally couldn't say anything, right? The whole point was that they were there to entertain the monarch.
Well, they could crack jokes and stuff like that, but I'm just saying, like, these guys say they have free speech now that they've made this turn, and all they do is complain about how unfairly, like, silent jesters are.
Oh, don't
The
forget
one-
at the beginning of time, though, they were riffing on the cave paintings at the beginning of time. Who drew this?
Right. I mean, there's supposedly the jesters would come in and sort of sneak in a little bit of social commentary because the king would otherwise lop their head off, and they would have to be in the context of a joke so that the king could hear these things. But instead of like coming in and talking about how the peasants need healthcare, they're coming in and going like, super tough out there for jesters.
When are they going to get off my back?
Exactly. Continue.
Shut down that, and it's the last thing with free speech, which is why if you get it's like any form of art. You can't just say, hey, here's my new thing, it's called a phone. You're going to have a million different reactions. You can't lump it in one sum and go, we don't like the phone because it's just offensive. And what is offensive? I even talk about in the new special. What's offensive? Defining the gender of a potato head toy? Is it going to war?
No,
That should
racism.
never be a
Racism
war.
is
People
offensive.
Come home with no legs. Is that offensive? Is that on the front line? There's many. You can't define. Is it food that gives you cancer? Are we going to put what exactly is offensive? So.
Oh man,
Comedy
He shouldn't go
and
on TV.
Comedy is the most important element of human existence, if you ask me. It is a thing that can heal you from just the worst tragedy in life, the worst sickness you're dealing through. If you don't have comedy, you're in serious trouble. You need to be humbled. You need humility in life, and that is one of the essence of life. Faith, comedy. You need
No, this can't be the first
Wait,
question
he's
he was asked.
rolling.
The first question, right?
He's rolled in faith and humility into comedy. Like that's all you need. You need comedy. That's the most important thing with faith and humility.
And he couldn't be less funny. Couldn't be less funny in this particular clip, right? There's the.
And
let me tell you why
what
humor
was he
is
saying
so
with
important.
the phone? With the phone, yeah, I mean, offensive with the phone. Is that
It's
offensive?
just racism is just a communication device, right? Is that what he's saying?
I couldn't make a lot of what he was saying there, other than like comedy's the most important thing, according to the comedian, and faith.
Maybe that just wasn't the right medium for it, right? I mean, he's meant to be on stage. He's not meant.
Yes,
that's
cable
true.
news.
Is that the end of the interview?
Yeah, that is the end of it, and we probably should just see, just to be fair, even though I'm now seeing he's beginning to be trending on Twitter now, so maybe just people can't stop laughing, like what some of this act is on the America First tour.
To some Breuer praxis.
Let's see the jester in action.
American faith. That's what. Here we go.
You know what a cockatoo is? A cockatoo.
Loving it. These guys Bluetooth earbuds in.
Look at all those different types of white people.
This looks like a great crowd.
And that's what everyone's become.
Yes, that is what everyone's become.
Little cockatoos staring at the screen.
Facts and figures, facts and figures. Dr. Fauci, Dr. Fauci.
Oh my God.
Trust the science. Trust the science.
Oh my God. He's doing his Jack Nicholson.
Specialist. Numbers going up. 1 mask, 2 masks. Vaccinated. Double.
I don't know about you, but I feel like I've been
That's
healed.
hilarious.
My God. That's the thing is that, without comedy, we would not have the truth that talking about double masking or getting vaccinated is like being a bird.
Right. Yeah, get your shots. You won't be hospitalized if you get a vaccine.
You know what's great about that bit is no matter what happens in the future, he's always going to be able to do that bit. It could be like, he could be talking about like floating cars, or whatever it is. We're all just orbs now. He could be doing, he could do this. He could be doing this for decades from now and just fit any other things in it that he wants to say.
You ever see a Democrat or two? Climate change.
Where half the country's under the water. Half the country.
Rush Limbaugh got a Medal of Honor. Okay, look. The guy has never been. The thing that's pathetic about it, and it's sad. It would be sad if it wasn't so funny to me. Is he is a comedian who never had a sentence in his act. Never a sentence. He pitched Goat Boy like. So now he's trying to get with it. He thinks now he's awake. He's politically aware. He's getting into that Adam Carolla area.
Right. I mean, I still think that's an amazing, I don't know if his whole act is that, just he does every joke in the context of if he's a cockatoo, but he could have gone back in time. He could be at the Civil War and just be like, they're going to take Richmond. You're going to take Richmond. Just do anything as a cockatoo voice and it would be just as hilarious.
Well,
you guys don't seem to be appreciating the fact that it's basically like a Swiss Army knife act. You can apply it to every, like that. There is talent in making it that applicable.
Well, he's constantly doing it's the dumb guy he's doing, but it's him. And I don't mean that as an intellectual thing because my father made me feel like I was stupid sometimes. So I don't mean it that way, but I mean that this is the way he claims to talk normally.
Yeah. I mean, I'm reminded of when I used to watch Half Baked at sleepovers, and Jim Brewer was so funny because of this very low common denominator. Hey man, yeah, that's.
And can you believe it? Chappelle. Look at the two people in that movie.
Yeah.
Chappelle. Now you hear the name Chappelle, and you think of anti-trans material, and not even material. I mean, what happened to the two greatest lights of our industry, Chappelle and Jim Brewer?
They both something must have happened on the set of Half Baked. That
you should have known, but like Sam, you knew that. Did you start? I mean, I didn't start in New York, even though I'm from New York. But this was like Jim Brewer's like at the clubs on the island.
I never knew Breuer. I mean, Chappelle and Neil Brennan wrote Half Baked in my apartment. I was roommates with Neil Brennan at the time. But Breuer I never knew, although I think we shared a manager. And look, Breuer went on he sort of disappeared and did like a radio show. I think it was on Sirius.
I was on his radio show and he was just, going, how's it going, Andy?
Yeah, he was just a guy who just liked to party, I think. Mm-hmm. And I think he's probably, I don't know, maybe he's stopped partying and he got the God Squad thing going right now. I think it seems like.
Is that the tour, the American Faith tour?
Who's on this tour? Can you get us more information on the tour? Because he's the jester, and apparently who are the other people on the tour with him who are also truth telling, but they're not jesters. I thought that was, I don't
There's
understand.
only
how is
7
that possible?
right-wing comedians.
Well, Michael Flynn's involved, so you have.
Yeah, there's Michael Flynn. There's the My Pillow guy. Like, who are all these people?
Well, I see
Well,
Roger
Roger Stone.
down there. Yeah, Alex Jones.
Alex Jones is in
This
there.
is supposed to be like a Sergeant Pepper takeoff.
I don't understand what this is. Are all these people on tour?
No, I think it's a Sergeant Pepper takeoff. And you see Brewer in the bottom left, right? He doesn't usually do physical humor, but in this particular case, he's going with a face there.
Clay Clark's ReAwaken America Tour.
It's
Who's
it's a little busy. I might,
Who's the guy in the front though? There was
It's like a 35-hour show. Look at all the people they have on there.
Well, it's
I don't understand what's going.
3-day show.
Oh, is that what it is? Or
Yeah.
no?
Magapalooza?
Yes,
Oh,
December 9th and 11th.
Okay. So to be clear, we should be clear about this.
Yeah.
It's not a tour. It's not going anywhere.
I was for a
It's
second.
in one place for 3 days.
Called the tour.
Sam, Dallas is the first stop. It's Dallas, Phoenix, Canton, Ohio, San Diego, Redmond, Oregon.
It's the racist Thunder Tour.
So this is a rolling conference that they're having.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I need to hear. I will do this if it helps at all. I will do some more research on this because I happen to be familiar with a couple of right-wing comedians from the old days. People who they were like regular comedians. Like there's a guy named Evan Sayet. Have you heard that name? I
No.
don't think you would have. But he's a comic who used to. I was friends with him back in the old days, and then he comes into the improv 15 years ago and just starts saying about how horrible the liberals are, and it's like.
Did he find out that you were Jewish?
Well,
It takes a long time. I mean,
my birth name
most people hang
was-
out with you for like 10, 15 years, and then they're just like, what? What do you mean?
I think he's Jewish.
Passover.
Though.
What?
He might be Jewish. There's a lot of right wing. It's a lot of right wing Jews.
Who else? Who else from that era were conservative comedians?
Well, that's the thing. I'm trying to think about. These are people who that's it. I mean, I can't think of any other names.
Well, Dennis Miller. I mean, but
well, yeah, but I mean, like
that was
people
sort of
who. Dennis Miller, he's just looking at facts. I mean, Dennis Miller, he's going off the deep end as one example of that. But I mean, first of all, right-wing comedy is impossible. You can't have comedy based on celebrating.
I think we just watched Jim Brewer really skew Anthony Fauci by saying that only cockatoos say his name.
It was also a very that's the noise I've heard in dinosaur animations when the pterodactyl comes down.
That is a very much Jim Brewer. Ugh, he's doing that.
I mean,
bit.
is this really a good impersonation of a cockatoo? Can we play that again and get let's deconstruct some of the joke. It is, the premise is cockatoo, and then the punchline is just words, and then more cockatoo. Let's
like
watch
the
this.
canary in a coal mine, you have the cockatoo in a pandemic, I think.
There you go.
You can't analyze this stuff. You just have to let it wash over you.
You know what a cockatoo is? A cockatoo.
That's a pterodactyl.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're absolutely right, Emma. That is not a cockatoo.
I love how most of the wives there have to look at their husband to see if they're allowed to laugh.
And that's what everyone's become. Little cockatoos staring
Hold
at
on,
the
pause
screen.
it for 1 second. Pause it. Leave it up. Find jobs that don't require COVID-19 vaccines at timetofreeamerica.com.
This is so good. This is so good.
This is wow. All right, yeah, keep going. I
Maybe
wanna
you'd
hear
like
more
to
of
sell
this.
hydrochloroquine door to door. There's many opportunities for you.
And figures, facts and figure. Oh, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Fauci.
Is that what Dr. Fauci sounds like? I don't think so, Sam.
Oh, I think he's
Trust the science. Trust the science.
They had to edit that, Sam. That's why they got the audience view. They had to edit the funniest parts of this.
Specialist, numbers going up, one mask, 2 masks, fascinated,
I wonder if what I find interesting about his stylings here is that when he gets too deep into actually saying the words, and I guess the premise is that a cockatoo, does that repeat? Is that like a parrot? Is he saying that we just mindlessly parrot what we see on TV?
I think he really is making up. I don't think that has any cockatoo connection. Does a cockatoo make a cockatoo sound at least?
Cockatoos apparently don't talk.
Cockatoos don't talk. Okay, so it's really okay. Well, he meant parakeet. But
he still has to ask the audience if they know what a cockatoo is. That's how insecure this guy is. He still has to go, anybody familiar with cockatoos? Well, then you're going to love this.
So the idea is that and I like the fact that when he says things that don't get a response, he's got to actually work the pterodactyl. He's got to work it even harder. He's probably has in his mind, having done this so many times, he probably knows that if I lose them, I've got to go to this. If I'm on a roll, I can just do this. But if I'm completely dying, I got to do.
I think you may have decoded the Jim Brewer.
I think
secret.
That's the formula.
Yeah.
He could do how Gallagher had Gallagher 2, his brother, go around and do his act. I feel like there's an opportunity here. You could do a tour where you were a Jim Brewer tribute comic.
I'm beginning to think he's the only comic on this thing, right? That he's the comic.
I'm starting to get sense that that's the case.
Yeah, it's America. Because if you look at that thing of the other people speaking there, it's Flynn. There's no other comic. There's no other.
Well, he's lifting the crowd up before in the interim between Don or Eric Trump and Michael Flynn coming on.
Where did the pillow guy have his horrible thing? Was that Texas? He had a horrible thing too.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know where that was. That was
Dakota, I thought.
That was in Sioux Falls.
Yeah,
we got a couple of IMs. Weed scientist says Harlan Williams is a big funder of paramilitary death squads. And he goes on to say, and then Fierce Deity says, wait till you get to his dynamite quote, cancel culture is like a great blue heron bit.
Matt sent something in Slack that I feel like we need to, because this is such a good call.
Oh, well, it's the wrong clip, but it reminded me of Dane Cook doing his dinosaur stuff. But yeah, it's pretty much identical to Dane Cook just gooning around the
dinosaur thing. I remember that special.
Handouts to the wealthy. Pirates.
I mean, that's the thing is you could do like a left wing Jim Brewer. You just put in seize the means of production. Ah!
Yeah, or you could do one that's making fun of them, where it's Donald. I can't do the impression, but gets upset about Dr. Seuss and stuff like that. Dr. Seuss is canceled.
Mr. Potato Head. Ha!
And he is the luckiest, except for Joe Piscopo.
I'm gonna get millions of dollars.
He is the luckiest. What's that?
I'm gonna get millions of dollars. I'm gonna do this.
No, because you don't. You see, it doesn't look sincere coming from you. You look like you're mocking the character.
No, I'm not mocking the character. I'm totally into the cock.
Mocking the character.
And that's right. Like with Jim, you worry about him a little bit, and that's why it's funny.
Hey, anybody seen a parrot anywhere? Polly wants a handout. Polly wants a handout.
It's really a lot of people go in the same reason why you go to a car race. Or see maybe he's gonna have a stroke. This one time he does it, and you think he's gonna have a stroke. Yeah, I feel like Jim Brewer probably has not been taking care of himself in a lot of different ways.
Well, he's a voracious reader, so a lot. You know what I'm saying? He's out of the loop.
See, comedy's the only way to learn. it really is. Well, kudos to Jim Brewer. I mean,
kudos to Jim Brewer, and it's just unbelievable. Him and Chappelle, and it's frightening to me.
I feel like the Chappelle thing is coming from a different place. Than
well, Chappelle's funny. Chappelle's
funny,
right?
And
actually, some people would. I never saw Half Baked, so some people claim that Jim Brewer can be. He's never made me laugh.
I mean, I watched that recently. I feel like he's the worst part of that movie.
Yeah, I mean, he's funny if you're like 12, I think, or like.
Hey, someone pass me the joint.
Exactly.
I'm wasted.
Exactly. That is funny if you're,
it's like
7th grade.
Yeah. It reminds me of those Adam Sandler movie types.
That's right. It's a low-rent Adam Sandler.
When he's super, super high, he can really play a high guy well.
That's right. Yeah.
It's one of his attributes. But I think, what's going on with Chappelle is different than what's going on with Brewer. I think Chappelle is driven by, a
ego.
A megalomania
that megalomaniac.
With Brewer, I think it's like he's on the God Squad and he's realizing like this is a ticket for him, and he
can't be on the God Squad. You can't just. I mean, you think he's going to hop on? I don't even think he can.
He drops faith in there quite a bit. If you listen to any interview that he's done and you listen to him for more than like 5 minutes, that starts to come up, and maybe that's what got him off the juice.
Yeah, it's also very funny, that kind of material.
Yeah.